see that if you take the approach of basically the state is required to just kind of do the bare minimum across the board, but then if you are, you know, a little school district that, you know, how are you, 2,000 plus ISDs in the state of Texas that are 254 counties. We've got a lot of very small independent school districts. Do you think that just out of survival, some of them will just have to figure out how they would consolidate? I know that's a horrible word, but it comes from the bottom up for survival purposes.
Well, Rosemary, here's what I'm not necessarily, here's what I would say in response to that. Obviously, some of the rural areas want to, you know, keep their district, but here's what I think you could do. The problem is, do you really need the administrative structure in all of these places? What they've got to do is figure economies of scale, where different areas can combine resources. I'll give you an example. This is on the vocational education front, because equipment can be expensive and a little bit more costly to teach vocational education. In the case of the Craft Training Center, you have two things that make it work very effectively in Corpus Christi. One is business contributes a lot in terms of equipment. And that's not a guarantee everywhere, but in that case they're doing it. Secondly, they bring together students from 14 different school districts, plus a charter school, to learn these skills. And so it's economies of scale. And you could do something, for example, Colleen has a terrific new career regional efforts on many fronts, including on the administrative functions, so you're not running up, you know, a big administrative overhead in the small districts. So I think that's a, you know, that's an approach that we should consider. But I think also TEA, we moved away from local control of education. We, you know, consolidated more and more power in the bureaucracy over there. And again, that's, to me, not the, I mean, you want to have transparency, you want to have some reasonable performance measurements, but if you believe in local control and flexibility, because the needs in the Panhandle for a district there are not the same as Austin, Texas, which is a high-tech area, and the same with community colleges, you know. They're different. Beaumont, Texas, the demand for skills is very different from the demand in Dallas, Texas, as an example. And allow for that flexibility, but more transparency. Yes?
What are your thoughts on Senator Patrick's SB 3 and the 4x4? How do you think we go about that? Do you think it's a good bill, or do you think that there's...
I think it's a good start.
Okay.
I worry that because there needs to be more career and technical education. I don't like the idea that, I mean, I think everybody should get the basics, a foundation program as that bill provides for, and that's what we've been talking about. There's more opportunities for career and technical education, which is good. What I worry about is there's still, and I don't know where he is on this issue, but the last time I visited with him, he was still stuck on the idea there need to be 8 to 10 sort of end of course STAR exams. I may not be given 15% credit, but I think that's way too many. And my preference would be to go to a norm reference testing system, or a maximum of 3 to 5 end of course exams. For example, out of high school, I could see Algebra 1, I could see English 3, English 2 or English 3, plus writing, both the reading and writing portions, perhaps U.S. history, and perhaps one science if you go to 5. But beyond that, I think we need to get away from this excessive emphasis on test learning, and that's not discussed in the bill, and so that's the next shoe to drop. Because coming out of the House, there will be legislation that will have a much fewer number of, if you will, end of course exams. And I think that's going to be the key test where the House and the Senate meet.